Wormholes, particle physics, extra dimensions. Are the wonders of so-called reality really what they appear to be? Or do we exist in an elaborate hologram? Is our universe the result of random activity or the result of intelligent design? If a creator was involved, can we discover him through our perception of divine order? This is Into the Multiverse with Josh Peck.
All right, well, I hope you caught last week's program because we rarely ever do this thing where, you know, one week we're like, join us next week and it'll be this, because usually we record a bunch of these in a row and we don't always know the order. But this one we're keeping. So in studio with me is my lovely, beautiful wife, Christina Peck. How are you doing?
I'm still good. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Well, I'm excited because last week we talked about some of your UFO experiences. We talked about Roswell, and it's really rare that I ever say, join us next week because we're going to do this, you know, because sometimes we put things in different orders. Mm-hmm. But this one I'm going to keep like this because we do have an interview with Joe Jordan, mm-hmm. and we're going to get to that a little bit later, probably after the break. But last week you said that you had a few other experiences that you haven't shared on the show before. Mm-hmm. So I figure we can just talk about some of those because
sure.
I'm sure that there are other people that can relate to some of it, and it's interesting, and why not? Before we do, though, this might be somebody's first time watching. If it is, check out last week's program. Where can people find us online?
Right here at youtube.com/Into the Multiverse, or on Roku. Check out us there on the Skywatch TV channel. Also, Skywatch TV has an app for the smartphone. So go to your Apple Store or Google Play Store, type in Skywatch TV, no spaces, and it will come up, and it is free. And you'll have access to all of our shows online. And don't forget to subscribe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you like podcasts, if you're more of a podcast listener, you can find the Skywatch TV podcast. Basically, it's just the audio pulled from all of our shows, but we do make that available too. You just go to skywatchtv.com and you can find the podcast there. Where to even start? I know of I know the stories, you know, because you've told me throughout the years. But where would you like to start?
I'd like to start. You know, last week we discussed what to do and what I did, mm-hmm. and what kept me from going down the path of New Age. Right. And I mentioned prayer, staying in the Word, and also if you come against these things, just say the name of Jesus, and yeah. they will leave. Yeah. There's been times where I've had experiences, even driving in my car, I'll mm-hmm. see them, and saying, "Oh Lord, no! In the name of Jesus, you need to go," mm-hmm. and they will go. Mm. Wow! And I haven't had to do that in a few years, yeah. but
that also kind of shows too, even more, that this isn't just, you know, like a misidentified plane, or it isn't always like right. a government thing. Because if you see a plane in the sky and do the same thing, the plane's just going to keep flying.
It's just going to keep going.
But, you know, the spiritual world's a little different with fallen angels and demons and things like that. They
leave.
They have to.
They hightail it out of there. I mean, I do remember when I worked midnights, I would I would drive, and I would be walking to the door of mm-hmm. where we were living, and I'd see them in the sky, and, or even driving home and seeing them, and I'm like, okay. And I know exactly what you do. You rebuke, and then you ask questions later. Yeah.
That's weird because, like, there must be something going on where I think they have more of an interest in you than they do me, because I've never seen one. Well, there was one time where it might have been.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm still holding a little bit of skepticism, but it was weird. It was at the trailer. It looked like just there was a star, you know, like above our trailer. But there was something different about it.
You got a weird feeling from it.
Yeah, and you know, I don't ever want to make conclusions based on feeling and
right.
emotions, but there just seemed to be something off about it, and you recognized it right away, and
you get to after a while.
Yeah,
you can just kind of pick it out.
Yeah, and so you told me what you thought it was. It was, you know, UFO, or, you know, whatever word you want to put on it.
This number.
Yeah, and I thought, when I looked up at it, I thought that well, that's probably just the atmosphere. You know how sometimes stars can look like they're moving, but they're not because it's the atmosphere, you know, interacting with. I was thinking, well, maybe it's because of that, but I've never seen that. You know, I've never seen it happen like that before. But so we were going out to dinner, and I said, okay, well, if it's a star, it's going to be there when we get back. You know, if it's gone when we get back, if it's gone, then you're probably right.
Yeah, we watched it for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and so then we left. We went to dinner. We came back, and it was gone. It was gone. But the weird thing is, it was back the next night, and that night I had some of the worst nightmares I've ever had in my life. And I wasn't really thinking about that thing. I wasn't worried about it or scared about it. I was still kind of, it's probably a star thing. But yeah, I just had some of the worst nightmares in my life, and nothing happened that should have caused that. So that was really strange.
Yeah,
and then we never saw it again after that.
No, we never did. I remember that one time, because of that night. The next night we went to the party store, and we got like 2 big things of Monster Energy drinks. We were going to stay up all night. Yeah. Because we both had issues sleeping that night. It didn't happen. We fell asleep. We crashed. Don't drink Monster Energy drinks.
Yeah, they're terrible.
They're horrible for you. Once I quit working at that other place, I stopped drinking Monster, and I feel so much better about my life.
Yeah, me too. Actually, that's something that we'll have to bring up if and when we do an episode on how to keep the temple of your spirit, you know, healthy, and you know, it's sort of a.
It can enhance multi.
There's a way to. Well, and the reason is because like a lot of people ask about that stuff. You know, can you cover this on Into the Multiverse? Can you cover like health? And it's a good topic, but we've kind of put it off because it's Into the Multiverse. You know, that doesn't really have to do with quantum physics, but there's a way to tie it in. And, but it's really more. It's really more about what the audience wants anyway, and
of course.
It's their show.
We'll do it for you.
Yeah. So we'll have to do an episode like that. But your home almost got invaded.
Oh gosh. Yeah. This was an incredible experience, and I was downstairs on the computer. Okay, I had a quad level home growing up, and it was, my parents built it after my grandfather was killed. But they lived in Detroit, Michigan. Then my parents picked up, moved to a little farming community about 45 minutes north of Detroit, and they built a home. And the way they set it up, it was like an illusion. Facing from the road, you can't tell that it was as big as it was.
Right.
It was top level where my bedroom was, and a side bedroom, which my mom used as a study, and I was homeschooled for part of my high school, middle school life. That's where I did my studies. There's a master bathroom. Then it was my parents' room in the back. Down the stairs, you walk into the foyer area. In front is the dining room. Over is the kitchen, a nook, and then also a bathroom, and then a door out to the garage. You get down another flight of stairs. There's a family room and a bathroom and my sister's bedroom. Go down one more set of stairs. There's a bedroom and a basement and a pump room. That's where we put all of our storage. And that's where we kind of use that as our family room. Well, so I was all the way down in the basement. I was underground, and my brother, he set that up as his apartment. That's where he lived for most of his time going through school, getting his job as an engineer. He stayed there until he could afford his own home. And so I was down there on the computer. I was talking to my friends online. And I just had this weird feeling.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 17 when this happened. And I remember it was September. And I was, oddest things came into my head. Like, well, think about the movie Signs. Why am I thinking about the movie Signs? That was a good movie, you know, back in the day, 2001 or whatever, when it came out. And so I looked at the time, like, well, it's past midnight. I should probably be getting to bed. So I go up the stairs, turn off the light. My sister's bedroom was under renovation this time. So she was upstairs in my room, and she had a day bed. So I slept on the trundle. she slept on the daybed part. So I'm turning off the lights, going all the way upstairs, and just had the oddest feeling. And my dad, he was in bed already. My mom was a nurse working midnights down in Macomb County. So she worked about an hour away. And then I pulled out the trundle, got it all set up, get in the bed, and I kind of felt like the bed kind of move. It's a metal bed. It's magnetic. So just kind of like pull of the bed and just kind of put it back to where it was. I'm laying on my back, and I just heard a on the roof. Now, I had a mock parrot tree outside my window. Could have been a number of things in my head. Like, okay, raccoon, could have gotten in the attic. That's happened on more than one occasion. I live out in the middle of nowhere. Possum, could be bats, could be anything. Then I hear another one. The door to the study, that middle room up there, was open. My cat was sleeping on one of the couches in there. And then all of a sudden I hear all this rustling around and this on top of my roof. And then I hear bags and everything. And then all of a sudden that cat, he hit the ground and he jumped down that flight of stairs. And I did not hear him like hit each step. No, he just jumped all down like all 6 or 7 stairs that we had. And he ran all the way down to the basement, I guarantee it. And then I'm just laying there. I'm kind of stunned. I'm like, that's unusual. Did somebody break in the house? And then I feel the bed again moving. And then I heard my dad. He was saying something. But then I woke up. I said, Dad. And then it just stopped. Everything got really quiet. Too quiet. My dad's like, yeah. I was like, you need to come here. My sister's still asleep. She said that she was having a dream that my cousin was trying to wake her up. Like, you need to get up now. Something's wrong. You need to get up now, in her dream. And then, so Dad came over, and I'm kind of shaking. But he said that he saw something in the room. He said there were 2 things in that room. Maybe about his height. My dad was about 5'9". And he said they just kind of looked at him and all. He said, I remember what he said. He's like, That's all he did. That's all I heard him say. I'm like, what was that all about? I didn't know until the next day. My dad told me what he saw. He wasn't going to scare me, but he prayed over us, and my sister woke up, and I got into the little daybed, that twin-size daybed with her. I was so scared. And then he went back to bed, and then all of a sudden, we heard beep, 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 like a radar, and then it just took off. Like, everything flashed green for a second, and then it took off.
Weird.
I was like, oh, and it crossed my mind, but I didn't want to think about that.
Yeah.
That's not where my mind wants to go.
So your dad looked in the room and he saw these 2 things.
They were by the corner, but there was a window. And the reason why I brought up the way my house is, it's very tricky to the eye. You don't know how big it is, and you don't know that side, there's like a middle room there. You would think it would be connected to my room. And it's like they got caught. It's stuck, like oops, we ended up in the wrong room.
Weird.
But there was, believe it or not, there was a odd shaped print with grass, and we were not allowed to wear shoes in the house or anything like that. There was grass and dirt in that room, and there was a laminate like wooden floor, and we took a picture of it. And it was very odd, very strange.
What did it look like?
It was small. It was smaller than my foot. I'm 5'11". I have pretty big feet I'm a tall girl. But it was smaller than my foot, and it had 4 toes. 4 toes.
Weird. What did when your dad first saw these things, what did he do to get them out, or to get them, like, I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure he didn't just go and then went back to bed.
No, I'm sure he prayed. I'm sure he was praying about it, but he did not make it known that he knew what was in the house.
Right.
He didn't want to scare us.
Right.
And
what did he say that they looked like?
He said that they were almost black looking. It was probably a gray of some sort.
Okay.
But it didn't have like the huge almond eyes. They were smaller. And it's like he said it was almost like a gorilla brow. He said it looked like that.
Weird.
And but he could tell exactly what they were.
Did they have any kind of clothes on or anything?
He said I don't know. It was dark though.
Okay.
I mean, he turned the hallway light on, but yeah, it didn't. He said it was just they looked black. So they could have been wearing something that was black. But yeah, it had a gorilla brow, and they had like rounder eyes, not as almond. But yeah, that was the closest I've ever been in a situation like that.
Wow. Well, that's really
and
really
now
interesting.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'd love to talk about some of this stuff more, but we do have an interview to get to. and actually what we're going to show you is a piece of an interview. To see the whole thing, you'll have to go to youtube.com/into the multiverse, and you can see the whole interview is about half an hour long. Before we get to that though, we got to take a break. So we'll see you again right after this.
Coming exclusively from Skywatch TV. When you purchase the 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative from SkywatchTV.com, you'll receive the largest giveaway in Skywatch TV history. An unprecedented value of over $400 in free books, DVDs, audio files, and the data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative, which includes 56 Christian classic works on PDF. All 28 episodes in Dr. Michael Lake's Understanding the Kingdom audio series. The latest version of Eastward for Windows. The 3-part Into the Multiverse television series where Josh Peck interviews Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative. And nearly 3 hours of bonus interviews on video with Dr. Lake on the Sharpening Report. For your library or to give away as gifts. Also included in this biggest giveaway in Skywatch TV history are Josh Peck's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, The Quantum Future and Extra-Dimensional UFOs. Dr. Michael Lake's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, Jericho, The Anatomy of a Stronghold, and The Shinar Directive. The 5-part Skywatch TV special investigative report on the books, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative. But that's not all. You'll also receive the best of Skywatch television on DVD, over 5.5 hours of the most popular episodes in Skywatch TV history. Travel through the multiverse on the best of Into the Multiverse on DVD. Over 5 hours of audio with Josh Peck on the coming Technocalypse. The best-selling book, The Final Roman Emperor. An incredible 5-year subscription to the Skywatch magazine. 2 brand new free gift books. And the data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative. For your library or to give away as gifts. An unprecedented value of over $400 in free products. This is the biggest giveaway in Skywatch TV history, and it's yours absolutely free when you purchase the 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative for only $39.95 plus shipping from SkywatchTV.com for the unprecedented value of over $400 while supplies last. For more details, log on to SkywatchTV.com.
Welcome back to Into the Multiverse. So I want to jump right into this interview. This is Joe Jordan, and again, this is just a piece of the interview. To see the whole thing, the whole unedited. It's about 25 minutes long, half an hour to watch the whole thing. Go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/into the multiverse. You can watch it there. Make sure you subscribe. But here you go. This is Joe Jordan in Roswell, New Mexico. Well, welcome to another Into the Multiverse exclusive here in Roswell, the housefly capital of the world, I think, with my good friend Joe Jordan. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Josh.
This has been an absolute blast hanging out in Roswell. And actually, you and I have known each other for a few years now, but this is the first time we actually get to meet and talk in person and spend some time together and work on some secret projects, which you all at home will just have to keep watching, watching Into the Multiverse for that, because we're not gonna reveal it right now. But but it's exciting, right?
Sure,
you know what it is. It's exciting. So so we're here for the 70th anniversary of the alleged Roswell crash, and you and I were talking earlier. You said something that I thought was really interesting. Before we get to that, though, for those not familiar with you, what's your area of expertise? How did you get involved in all this?
For 20-some years now, I've been researching the so-called alien abduction experience. I'm what you call a UFO researcher, investigator. I am a member since 1992 of the Mutual UFO Network, the largest UFO organization in the world today. Anywhere upwards of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 members at any one time worldwide. I'm currently the national director for South Korea for MUFON. I'm the co-founder and head of CE4 Research, which is the group that I work under to actually research alien abductions. It's been kept separate from MUFON. Originally, in the beginning, when I started doing abduction research, MUFON wasn't really set up to actually investigate abductions, so we set up a separate entity. But we've always offered our work to, to be able to be looked at by our peers in MUFON over the years.
And I'm surprised too, which this is a blessing, because you take a different interpretation of the whole phenomenon than generally most of MUFON, I imagine, would. They seem to take more of a nuts and bolts physical explanation, where you come at it from more of a spiritual end. You've come across the difference between what people would call the UFO phenomenon and the alien abduction phenomenon. I think most people are under the assumption that those just go hand in hand and they're the same thing. But the evidence that you brought up through working with experiencers or contactees or abductees, whatever label we want to put on it, and also people who've witnessed UFOs, your evidence shows that there's a disconnect there. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I truly believe that the two are not related. Mm-hmm. Okay, my research seems to show that one doesn't support the other. I think that accidentally came along years ago through the press, the way they put the information out, and Hollywood, the way they took hold of it, and then everybody else just went along and said, okay, that must be the way it is. Mm-hmm. Originally this all started 70 years ago. This is not just the anniversary of the Roswell UFO crash this year, so-called Roswell UFO crash, but this is also the anniversary of the first identification of an unidentified object that was reported by Kenneth Arnold.
That's right.
Flying in his airplane, he watched these crafts, some type of objects fly by, and he didn't call them crafts. Actually, he didn't call them flying saucers. When the press talked to him afterwards, after his flight, he was giving a description. They asked him, well, what did you see? And he said these things seemed to look like they were saucers skipping across the water. Mm-hmm. What he was trying to do was give you a picture idea of the motion they were flying through the air.
Right.
He wasn't describing the objects.
The shape itself.
But the press took hold and titled them flying saucers.
So then everybody gets this picture of a circular disc thing.
Exactly.
And that's not even what he drew. What he drew looked more like a crescent moon shape almost.
Yes, and something you would see along the the B-1 bomber.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what he was describing. But everything got convoluted, by a mistake, and everybody picked up on looking for that flying saucer shape that we are so familiar with today, through Hollywood. Now, when you look at the UFO phenomenon, as a MUFON investigator, I get reports in every month on what's being reported, and it's all queried down by country, number in each country, number in each state of the country, Then you get into description of the object. What shape was it? How big was it? How far from the experiencer was it? You know, and it breaks all that information down. All of that's gathered from the report that people fill out. Okay, so when you look at these reports, and you know, I can share them with you, it's no problem. But it's not just sent out to everybody; it's sent out to us to be able to share. And if you look at it, let's take typical report. Number one country every month, U.S. Average number 400 to 500. Okay, highest number of states. The 2 states with the highest number: California, Florida, Texas also. And then it gets, you know, lower and lower there. Okay, so this is the type of query that I'm seeing. Now, when it gets to the shape of the object, number one shape is actually not a saucer shape. It's actually just a fuzzy edge glowing object. Okay?
Like an orb.
Like that term, you know, if you want to use that. But that's the number one thing that's reported. Description.
Interesting.
It's way, 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 way down the list that you got some guy that says, I actually saw the typical flying saucer. Okay? So it's not that they're seeing alien spaceships.
Right.
You know, and MUFON will tell you in their research that 98% of all reports, which are millions over the years, 98% of those are misidentified either natural objects or man-made objects. Okay, you get down to the last 2%, 1.5% of that is not enough information to make a determination. You get down to that 0.5%, you're dealing with objects that had a behavior that can't be dealt with scientifically. Should I say maybe a little paranormal aspect to it? Okay, they don't know how to handle those. Your testimony is the most powerful evidence in the world. Your changed life, your testimony of a changed life is the most powerful evidence in the world that God exists and He's real. And that's what these testimonies I have show more than anything else. Not just showing that this abduction experience is a demonic entity behind it, and it coming as a facade of high-tech alien, but that God Himself is who He says He is. Amen.
Well, I couldn't think of a better note to end on. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and talking with us. And yeah, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Josh.
All right. Well, Joe was awesome. I love Joe to death. He's a great guy, and it was a lot of fun getting to spend some time with him, and he always has some really important things to say. Great presentation he gave. People can check out his presentations on YouTube even. Well, we are all out of time, but I want to thank you for joining me. I feel like I was like interviewing you almost, so it's almost like having a guest in the studio or something, but it's not. But and thank you all for joining us yet again into the multiverse. Until next time, take care and God bless.